This is Confessions of a Black Sheep, where we embrace being unapologetically different, uncover the power that comes with it, and share our personal wisdom through experience, vulnerability, and honesty.
I'm joined by my amazing co-host, Preetam, who is a life architect with a knack for turning chaos into clarity, your vision into your reality.
And of course, this is Simran, a Reiki master, a yoga teacher, and an all-around guide for women stepping into their power.
Today, we are talking about the fact that your family is likely holding you back from your full potential. But first, I would love for you to tell me how you're doing, Preetam, only using metaphors.
Okay, cool, we'll get there. And I'm excited to share. But when you said likely holding you back, can we rephrase that? I think like holding you back.
That just may not be true.
Okay, cool. I'm excited to dive into this one because I feel like it's big, and I feel like families, I think for a black sheep, families, it's a very different topic, and you're affected a lot by that, and then being able to step out. So let's see where that goes. A metaphor on how I'm feeling. So I would say that last week I was the bat and my wings were open and I was getting ready to leave the cave. This week I've learnt that there is more wisdom inside the cave. So my wings are closed, and sometimes there's deeper wisdom to be learnt. So right this second, I feel like the bat that is going deeper into the cave to explore, and he's surrounded by nature that he's never seen before, even though they're blind. But I'm surrounded by nature that I've never seen before. So things that are coming to me right now are like extreme downloads, but it's also very sensitive. So I need the darkness in that moment. Wings are closed, but I'm really exploring with what's going on there. So yeah, that's how I feel.
That's exciting.
It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels really good. Then at the same time, it feels like you do need this cave in this particular time, and you get to choose which other bats come in. You can't just have, not all bats can come in.
Am I a bat that's in
You're
the
inside.
cave? Amazing.
Yeah.
Am I flying around, or am I just chill?
When you're inside there, you're chill,
Okay.
but you leave and then come back.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, you're not always there.
Good, I love
You're
that.
like, cool, well, and then you're like, I'm gone. And then sometimes I go deeper in, and then you have your time.
In the cave?
Yeah, in the cave.
In the darkness.
Yeah. In the darkness, yeah.
I am in your cave right now.
Yeah.
Currently in your apartment.
Yeah, this is the cave.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not very dark in here.
No.
No.
But it will get
it gives that
later.
feeling. Yeah, it'll get dark later. It gives that feeling of protection.
Yeah.
You're held here.
It's actually a really nice space.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I
felt very at peace because when I was here last night.
Yeah.
And I was so at peace that I slept through all my alarms.
Yeah. It's good.
So,
Needed.
Yeah.
Essential. How are you feeling? Only
In
answering
metaphors?
metaphors. Yes, please.
I think I used the metaphor of the lotus flower and the lily pad last time. Maybe I didn't talk about a lotus flower, but I talked about a lily pad, right? I think so. Because this time I'm seeing a lily pad, I'm seeing still the swampiness, but I've learned that the swamp is not nasty. It's actually just full of nutrients. It's really beautiful and it's feeding me really well. My lily pad stem is extremely strong.
Okay.
My lily pad top is just like thick, nice top, like so thick and nutrient dense, you would feel like you could walk on the top of this lily pad. Deceptive though, because you're going to fall into the water. There's a lotus flower there, because I know lotus flowers grow in swamplands, right?
They do. We saw a whole lake of them.
Yeah, we did.
Earlier this week.
Yeah, we did. There's a lotus flower there now, and I feel like in a lot of ways I've blossomed. I'm seeing a lot of pink. I'm seeing a lot of a really bright green. I feel very aligned on my path. I feel like there's no darkness around me, actually. Perhaps the darkness is in the swamp, but I feel blossomed. I feel great, actually.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing. Would you say that, like, the cave feels like, it's obviously when you explain the cave, it's dark, but inside this cave, there's like things that you've never seen before. And then at the same time, it's like, cool, this is also a very nice space to be in. And then simultaneously, it's a very guided, intuitive path. So it's like, okay, cool, this is exactly where it needs to be. Do you feel like the lily pad is the same? Like the swampy land is like, this is exactly where I should be right now to recharge.
100%, yeah. I don't feel like recharging at all. I think I've passed the stage. I think it sounds like you're in that space between the death and birth. I think I've already died and been reborn. It feels like I've already been born and now I'm just living. I feel very alive. I don't feel recharging. I feel just living.
And you're ready for physical optimization.
Yes.
I'm excited for this.
Me too.
I'm excited for this.
I'm really ready for it.
Yeah, this is a huge part of something that is like massive to me, and it's always been huge to me. It's really cool that you want to embrace it and work through it as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting. We'll give you an update next week because this is going to be week 1 of Simran's physical optimization.
Yeah. So Preet and I have agreed to exchange services.
Yeah.
So he's going to help me with physical optimization,
Yeah.
and I'm going to help him with energetics.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We'll give you an update. We'll give you a week-on-week update.
No, we won't.
No, we won't. Okay,
No.
cool, we won't.
No. I guess we can do a week-to-week update.
Yeah, like a segment.
Yeah, a little section.
Yeah.
How about we just do one thing we learned from that week?
Yeah, from that journey.
Yeah.
Not,
And like what?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, vibes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, amazing.
So let's get into this amazing, juicy topic. We're talking about how your family is likely, possibly holding you back from your full potential. And I say likely and possibly because I want to leave room for the opportunity that there are families out there who are very supportive of the black sheep in the family. And they are really supporting them, moving them in the right direction. Because I feel like my family is doing that now in a lot of ways. Some ways they're still kind of trying to hold me back, but they know how to support me better now. So.
Did they always though?
No.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. So would we so when we say, "Are your family holding you back?" I think the further you go down the journey of being the black sheep, eventually they have to support you. Otherwise, they lose you.
It's
so they have to support you.
It's either they're supporting you or they choose to lose you.
Yeah.
Yeah. One or the other.
Yeah, and I think it's that sense of control. Eventually, if you're going to continue down the path of being a black sheep like we both did, there were moments where there was enough of a disconnection where you could have said, okay, cool, we've lost each other. Right. However, that can be brought back together where both sides are willing to understand each other and support each other. So, yeah, wow. Let's define full potential. Full potential is the highest level of capability, growth, and fulfillment a person can reach in all areas of life, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It's not just about success in one domain, but about becoming the most aligned, powerful, and authentic version of yourself. Now, Simran, can you please define full potential for you and when you found that you had a turning point towards your full potential?
Okay, those are two very big questions.
Things.
So the first, how would I define full potential? The way that I see full potential, because I see the world through the perspective of energetics, that's just what's easiest for me to perceive. I see this as your spirit is fully taken over and expressed in your body. That there's a freedom of what you came here to do, and you're able to actually show up in the world as yourself. This is your full potential. Whether it's the way you speak, the way you express yourself, the way that you think, the way that you move through the world, what you do for work, how you make your money, who you choose to keep in your life, what your relationships look like. There's full potential in all of it, and all of it is what I describe as the highest pathway. I think there's so many little details to that. All of it is so vague and general.
I like it though.
Yeah. I think the best word is liberation, which we've talked about before. Being liberated on all aspects. Yeah, and I have it.
Yeah.
You have the tattoo?
I have the title of the word liberation.
Oh, I have it. I have the tattoo of the Sanskrit word liberation right here.
Yeah.
Can you show the camera?
You want to see the camera one thing. Yeah, we've got 3 tattoos.
I have
3 different countries.
Moksha means liberation in Sanskrit, and I have that on my neck.
Twin.
Wow.
Wow.
I wonder if we have other matching tattoos.
Let's
No.
not do that now.
Okay.
Mine are all over my body.
Okay. So.
One day.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, the word is liberation, and a person who is reaching their full potential has attained liberation, or is on the path of attaining the liberation in all of these ways.
Yeah, really interesting. And I do like that one, a metaphor or a visualization that came to me. Have you seen The Matrix, the first one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool. There's a moment when we had this conversation the other day. But there's a moment when Neo energetically finally believes that he's capable of doing everything, rather than he didn't believe he was the one up until that moment. And that's the moment he can see everything in numbers and energy. Whereas prior to that, he was just seeing himself as a human form. So there's that beautiful scene where that happens, where it's his state of belief, where he's finally like, okay, cool, watch me. And then he's just like this super thing. So, which is really amazing. So when that happened to you, like you explained it in actualization of the energy, like you're able to embrace it. Is it a belief or is it an action?
What?
The actual moment where you realize that maybe you're capable of so much more from the world that you're currently in, and then suddenly you're like, oh, there's so much more potential. Is it just a moment, or is it like a gradual journey?
I think that we always have this inner knowing. We already know internally what our full potential is, which is why people are like, I have this dream, I have this vision, I've always wanted to do this, I saw myself living this way. And so many times we just think it's so far from us, and we continue living on our hamster wheel.
Yeah.
But this is something that I always say, if you can see it in your mind's eye, it already exists somewhere. So if you have seen a version or a vision for your life, or a dream, desire, it's a reality that is calling to you, that is attainable, that it is possible. Because you could not see it if it didn't already exist somewhere.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you feel like you already had an inner knowing of your full potential early on?
There's this quote: a man asked his gardener why his plants grew so beautifully. And the gardener said, I don't force them to grow, I remove what stops them. And I think as we grow up, we find things, or we're taught things that get in our way of our own potential. However, at all times, especially from a young age, especially the younger we actually are, we come into this world with pure joy, pure excitement, pure visionary and dreaming, and then slowly that gets stripped away from you, or you get controlled, or you get put into this place where you are conditioned by the people around you and the environment around you and the community around you. So based on their limitations, they pass those limitations on to you. So you've got these wild, amazing dreams. I want to be an astronaut, I want to be this, I want to be that. And then suddenly everyone's like, well, you can't do that. Or you shouldn't do that. And I think that's one of the things of full potential, is you start to realize your own individuality again and your own creativity again, because that's slowly taken away from you. And then the more you observe into it, that's why black sheeps often look different. And they'll get like, you might see like full body tattoos on people that are really embracing their creativity, because they've been suppressed for such a long time, and then they're falling back into it. And that's just like one example. We see many different examples of people standing up from the crowd and not necessarily being told that they have to go down this path. And I think it was really beautiful the way that you explained the highest potential from an energetic perspective, and from a high performance perspective, from a high performance perspective. Full potential is being able to thrive in multiple areas of your life and not just in one area. Now, a lot of people that follow a certain lifestyle where they're not the black sheep, often they've nailed one area of their life, whether it's their business, whether it's their health, whether they're runners, and they're able to say, okay, cool, well, actually, look at me, I'm amazing in this. And they are fantastic. However, other areas really take a big drop. And one of the things about being the black sheep is, or being able to embrace your full potential and really embrace it, is thriving in multiple areas, thriving in like your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health, your community, your environment, your business. And it sounds intense because there's so many areas. However, it's completely possible. You have to create it in your mind first. That vision has to be there first. And just as you said, if you can see it there, it can become possible in your reality. And at the end, we'll share a tool that will help with that. 2 really, really strong tools that can really help with that and put you on that pathway to work towards that. And I think that those tools are definitely needed. However, your full potential, I would say most people, and I mean this in the kindest way possible, and people can take it however they want to. However, I believe most people live at around 1%. And that's 1% of their full potential. Yeah, and when you look at it and you can move up that scale, there's so many little things that you can free up. The first thing you need to do is come home to yourself anyway, because you've been so conditioned to believing that this is your potential. Even at school, you get told by your teachers, you'd be very good at this. That's automatically telling you that whatever your full potential was, you might have been told you're going to be a great doctor, but you wanted to be a fashion designer. Like, you had this creativity side of you. Or you would have been an amazing athlete. Well, you can't be anything else. So the amount of athletes that don't get an education because they've been told that they're going to be an incredible NFL player. However, off the back of that, they didn't learn anything else because that was the path they were taught to go down. Everyone is more than capable of having multiple areas that they can thrive in. In fact, they can thrive across every. So for me, full potential is being able to master all of those different areas and giving yourself the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, beautiful. And yeah, you made a great point with the way that we're conditioned, and our family plays a huge role in this, because your family shapes the way that you view the world. They shape the way you view yourself. They're the ones who are responsible for building up your confidence, for teaching you how to navigate your emotions, processing things, how do you interact with other people? How do we behave socially? How do we dress? How do we talk? All of that comes from our family or whoever raised us. And so whatever or whoever you consider your family to be, whether it is your parents, your siblings, maybe your teachers, your friends, your grandparents, whoever ended up taking care of you and bringing you up, they shaped who you are. And we can simultaneously love and accept our family and at the same time be like, you really fucked me up. And now I'm going to have to recondition myself in order to achieve my full potential. And this is a key, is that the acceptance of, I love my family, I care for you, but you really messed me up. A lot of people get stuck in that space of resentment and feeling upset, feeling like a victim of something. But recognize that both of us and anyone who achieves really beautiful things in their life has most likely had a really rough childhood and then learned how to overcome all of the things that they had to overcome. So the shift between victimhood to acceptance and responsibility over yourself is huge. And that's definitely the first step in even opening up to your full potential, is taking your own power, your own direction in life into your own hands and recognizing you can change the trajectory of your life. You can change how you think. You can change how you feel. You can change how you look. Whatever wants to be different, it can be. And it is your responsibility. So do you want to talk about how it feels to be held back or to know and acknowledge that your family is holding you back? How does it feel? How did it feel for you when you first recognized this?
Yeah, I think really interestingly, one of the most powerful points that you made was taking your control back, taking your power back. And the easiest way to explain it now, how it felt, was my family taking away my pension. Was my family taking away my potential? Yes, I had no power. I was powerless. And that's how it felt. But I can verbalize that now. However, I couldn't verbalize that then. But I had no power. So you're moving through this space where they're telling you what you're going to be. They're telling you how you're going to be. And actually, if you're not those things, they'll make you feel guilty. They'll make you feel shame. They'll make you feel bad for not following the family ways, for not doing what the family should do. Or this is the kind of image that we've created for the family. You need to marry this type of person. And then you need to educate yourself in this way because it's going to look good on the family. Or you need to be educated like this because we worked super hard to get you here. And that's fine, of course. I want everyone to thrive in their biggest potential. However, for me, there were times where my family were, and similar to your family, my family were first generation and that moved to the UK as immigrants. So their life was very, very different. It was very tough, emotionally extreme. They had to piece together every penny they possibly could to survive, pure survival. And they've all worked very, very hard. We ended up luckily getting into a very beautiful part of the UK. That's where they were based. And they've worked hard from there to create the lives that they have. And they're doing incredible. However, that survival mindset of all the things that they had to go through led to a really powerful sense of control. We need to control each and every area of what's going on. And that is the education, the career path, safety. Make sure you're in a career that is safe, that you're going to be able to earn consistently for a long period of time. I've done the complete opposite. And is it way more exciting? Yeah, it might be way more exciting, but is it for me? Does it feel more at home for me? Yeah, completely. However, for many years, I was following exactly what those things were. I grew up in a place where everything in my lifestyle, everything in my upbringing was conditional. You follow these rules and you can stay here. And then you start breaking these rules, but then you still feel trapped there. So you're doing all the things to get out. You're rebelling. You're being the black sheep because someone's forced you to be a certain way. And I think the more control that we lose, the smaller that we feel and the less that we spread our wings. In fact, I think we become the caterpillar that never spreads their wings, never even grows their wings. So I feel like there's a huge journey to go on. For me personally, my family held me back massively because they didn't allow me to embrace who I truly was. And by not embracing who I truly was and telling me exactly how I'm going to be, you end up losing your creativity. You end up not communicating with the people that see you. Instead, you're communicating with people that see them because that's how you're controlled and that's how you're put into this circle. Now, I adore my family. I absolutely have a beautiful relationship with them now that I've been able to go on that journey. However, I felt very, very small for a very long time. And that small feeling, to me, felt like I wasn't seen. I felt like I wasn't understood. I felt like they didn't want to care about my opinion or who I was or how I lived. And gradually, eventually, I just kept rebelling and rebelling and rebelling. When I was younger in my life, it was rebelling in quite a negative way. It was like whether it's alcohol, whether it's drugs, whether it's sneaking out at 3 a.m. and doing stupid things. And then later on, it got even more serious. However, it was all reject because I was constantly rejected for who I was. I wanted to be seen exactly as I was, and that didn't happen. Yeah, it took away a lot of my own potential. And I didn't even learn what potential was until a lot later down the line when I completely pulled away and had to choose myself and completely reject them, which is a super sad thing to even have a conversation about because I adore them and I love them deeply now. And we have a beautiful relationship with all of them. However, what I found was I was collectively being manipulated by a family that wanted me to fit into a triangle, yet I felt like I was a circle. And it was like, I don't fit here. This isn't my circle for me to sit in. However, this circle will come and fit in your triangle one day. Just allow it to go and fly away. Right. And as it flies away, it will create its own shape. Now I can be a triangle and a circle and a square. I can be whatever I want. But however, I needed that to, instead of someone telling me what I needed to be. How did it feel for you? What was your journey like?
Pretty similar, actually. And I think you made a great point that sometimes a period of separation is required in order for you to find yourself. And then you come back. And I had a very similar process. I detached a lot from my family pretty early on. I think I started to detach at like 16 years old. It was unbearable living in the same home as them. And I was just waiting until I turned 18 and I went off to college and I tried to go as far away as possible. We were living in Calgary, Canada at the time.
Okay.
So weird.
It's cold, right?
It's so cold. It snows like 9 months out of the year.
I don't understand why people want to spend so much time in cold.
Well, we went there for my dad's work.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised in the U.S., right? So I've lived in the U.S. my entire life. And then my senior year of high school, we decided, let's move to Canada.
Love that.
So I'm like last year in high school and...
To me, that's the North Pole.
It's so cold, yeah. I hated it. At the time, it was the worst year of my life, but I think that it was so dark and depressing and bad that it brought me so close to myself. Okay. Because I was separated from everything I've ever known. We're in a new country. The culture is completely different, actually.
Which culture did you prefer, the US or
the US, which is why I went back. I'm sorry, Canada. I'm not into it.
I gave her the opportunity there. Choose you.
So, yeah, I had the option to go to school somewhere in Canada, but I was like, I want to go back to the US and I just want to get away from my parents.
Okay.
And ended up going back to school in Virginia. And my family actually followed me there. And they moved from Canada to Richmond, Virginia.
That's completely unacceptable. I would feel so, and it would be interesting because this is how I would have felt in that moment. So I chose to go 4 hours away from my home, which in the UK is pretty much the other end of the country. It's pretty far away. If they followed me, I would have felt so trapped. What was your initial reaction? Can you remember what your initial reaction was when your family said, oh, we're coming too?
I was so confused. I think I was so numb at the point where I was like, okay, fine.
Okay,
but
fine.
I will not be staying in the same place as you. So they lived 20 minutes from my university. And I fought and fought and fought. And I was like, I will not stay here. I'm going to stay in a dorm. And and US prices to live on campus and go to a good university, when you have no scholarships, no loans, it's expensive. So fucking expensive. And
can you give us an example?
$20,000
a month
for 1 year.
Oh, 1 year. Okay.
Yeah, $20,000 for 1 year.
To stay.
Yeah, for all of that. So I decided to do that, and I was like, I don't care how much it is. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to do this. And I fought, and they let it go. And now, in retrospect, I really appreciate that my family did that. Okay. I really appreciate that they were there and that they care so much that they will literally move mountains to be there for me. I see that, I appreciate it, and I'm actually glad that they moved back with me because I needed the support. Because my first year, now I feel like this happens to a lot of people, maybe a lot of people who are children of immigrants. When you're living at home, there's such a tight grip on you, and then as soon as you're out by yourself, you just go crazy. There's no rules. There's nothing. So my first year at university, I went wild. My GPA went from a 4.6 in high school. Like 4.0 is an A. And then so you just do extra shit to go even higher.
Can I just say that's so Indian?
I know.
So
I went from a 4.6 GPA in high school to a 1.8 my first semester in college.
What's a 1.8?
1.8 is you're failing and you're threatened to get kicked out of school.
So if you stayed in a 1.8 for 3 years, would you get a degree at the end?
They wouldn't even let me continue with one. Like,
what is the minimum?
2.0.
A 2.0. So you were like the equivalent. So in the UK, you need minimum of 40% to move into year 2. In every year, you need 40%. And we called the people that used to hit just 40%, we used to call them scrapers, because you would just scrape into the year. So you were below a scraper.
I was below a scraper.
Wow.
And then by the next semester, I got up to a 2.1. So I was a scraper.
Congrats. You became a scraper. Yeah.
But my point here is that as soon as I had the freedom, as soon as I was out of the grasp of my family's hands, I had no sense of control, no boundaries, nothing. Like I was smoking, drinking, having lots of casual sex. I went crazy.
Wait, was it good casual sex?
No.
It wasn't?
I mean, in retrospect, no.
No, okay, cool. Fair.
At the time, I thought it was great. But I'm just like so out of it that
just disconnected.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Like deeply disconnected. We'll get onto casual sex another time. We should definitely do an episode on casual sex.
We're going to have to.
Okay.
Yes. So just went a little cuckoo crazy, and 18 to 20, I really disconnected from my family. Even though they were 20 minutes away, I was like, I'm learning myself. Yeah, I'm a big ass mess right now, but I know that I literally cannot come back into the fold until I don't know when, but nothing was working well. So the next year I tried living with them again while I was in school. And you know what? I spent most nights sleeping in my car in a parking lot and telling my parents that I was sleeping at my friend's house and I had to wake up early for a class. But it was so bad that I would have rather slept in a random parking lot in my car than go home, drive 15 minutes and go sleep in a bed in my parents' home. Because that's how trapped I felt there. And that's how disconnected I needed to be at the time. And I never told them this. Like,
you have now.
Well, I hope they're not going to listen to this, but it was bad. And I didn't tell a lot of people. Like, nobody knew I was just not going home to sleep somewhere. Like, I would sleep in my car. I had a change of clothes in my car. I would go to the university gym. I would shower there. And then I would go to class. That's how I lived for a solid year. And I would smoke weed to stay disconnected. I was drinking a lot. I had really shitty friends in my life. But I was doing well in school because I had to. That for a few years I was really disconnected from them. And then I eventually got my own place because I was like, okay, well, you can't just keep sleeping in your car and avoiding your family. Let's just fight a little bit harder and just get our own place. So I got an apartment. I was staying with 3 other girls in that apartment. And I had just a little room. At the time, I was paying $475 for rent, which is wild. I don't think we can do that anymore in the U.S. anywhere. I didn't call them often. I didn't talk to them very much. And the thing is, I felt so guilty about it. I felt so bad. I would sit in that room and I remember crying and journaling and being like, I really just wish I could be connected with my family. But every time I speak to them, I feel like shit. I feel like they don't understand me. I feel like I'll never become the person I need to be if I have to fit into their mold. I knew this, and I knew I was fighting really hard, and it hurt. It hurt so bad to tell them no, and to tell them I don't want to live with you, and to tell them that I don't want to do the things they want me to do. I don't want to study the thing you want me to study. I don't want to become the person you want me to become, knowing that this is disappointing them, knowing that it's hurting them, knowing that they don't understand it, but I have to do it anyways. Knowing that they will never see my vision, but I have to follow it. And so a few years, super disconnected, a lot of pain back and forth, a lot of arguing, feeling like I just didn't even have parents because I couldn't go to them for anything. I can tell you now, though, years later, I think it was like that for 2 or 3 years. And I fought and fought and fought. But as soon as they started to see my vision, and see that she is trusting herself and she doesn't listen to us anyways, so we might as well just let go. But when they started to see that it's working and that I am doing well and that I know what I'm doing and it's not anything they could have imagined for me, they're so supportive now. They're very accepting. I won't go into this whole story, but they recognize how unplanned my life is and how inconsistent everything is, when all immigrant parents really want for their children is consistency and safety. And they look at my life and they're like, she doesn't have that, but we're trusting that she's doing it well anyways. And I am. And yeah, so they're supportive now, and our relationship has improved a lot. And something I can say in retrospect, and what also sounds like what you've experienced, is once you're on your path and your family can see that you're doing what you need to do and you're happy, they will start to support you. They will come back and they will start to offer the things to you that you're craving from them. But you have to show up and do it for yourself first. And then they come in and they surprise you with how much love they're able to offer for who you are.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's super important. I think that actually the families in parts are a lot wiser than we think they are. But we have to go through this journey, and that freedom needs to be given. And when it's not given, it leads to suppression, it leads to numbing, it leads to that real distance in feeling. One of the things that I learned, and it sounds similar to you, but I would explain it in a slightly different way, is when you're going through this place where they've got all these expectations of you, you don't know who you are. It's not that you don't know even a little bit of who you are, you just don't know who you are. There is no personality. So as soon as you create that distance from them and you cut off, things don't just get better suddenly. You don't just have a year away from them and you go up. Actually, you have a year away from them. I'd had years away from them and I started doing drugs and I started drinking and I started working in nightclubs, and it was amazing. I had the best time ever, but I was completely disconnected from myself. But I had to do that because I had to learn exactly who I was. What I ended up learning into my early mid-20s was that emotionally I was still 5 years old because of everything that happened for me when I was younger. But I had to go through all of that to recognize that I didn't have a personality. It was all conditioned by the family. 100% of the family was holding me back from every aspect of my life. I thrived in certain areas. However, I wasn't Preetam that we see today, and Preetam that has the potential to go and continue creating, and the Simran that can completely change the world, and then the Preetam that wants to create change in a way where there's no limitations on what that looks like, whether it's physical health, whether it's mental health, emotional, spiritual. Family didn't even believe in emotional and spiritual health. So to even be able to find a full potential in that, it didn't exist. It still doesn't really exist in Indian culture. You've got spiritual health. However, a lot of it comes through religion. And then you've got emotional health to an extent, but they don't believe in things like depression or any other sort of labels that we've created in the West. They believe that actually you're broken. You should go over here. This hospital will be great for you. Yeah. So I think that one of the big things is that the family do have an amazing wisdom, which is that actually keeping them around you is a really beautiful thing, and having them close is a really beautiful thing. I think the first thing is that you need to detach yourself. You need to go and work out exactly who you are, learn the creative sides of yourself, and then gradually bring that family back in. However, without that complete disconnection at some point, you will always be controlled and conditioned by that family. And I think that that's probably one of the most valuable things to do, to then go and start finding out who you are. So
yeah, I agree. And I think you make a great point that it's important to come back in.
Yeah,
obviously first step is separate.
Yeah.
Learn yourself, go fuck up, and then rebuild.
Yeah.
And then come back in, because I have learned how much strength there is in a family being together.
Yeah.
Individuals are so weak, which is why this is a huge problem out in the West, is the individualistic culture. It keeps us so weak.
Yeah.
And something that you and I even talked about recently, the way that our family supports us. And this is through finances, because sometimes they're just not great emotional support people, but generations build empires through generations. Yeah. One generation cannot do it. We wouldn't be able to live the way we're living if our family didn't build themselves up in the way they did. If their family, if their parents, if their grandparents didn't do all the things to actually provide a better life for their children. Because our families worked so hard, our parents sacrificed so much, at this point now, we're able to live a very free, beautiful life. And it's because we were given the resources to do so. And it is so important that generations work together, that parents are taking care of their children, and that children go back and take care of the parents, and then also provide even more for their future children. That is how you actually build over generations. Whether it's you're building wealth, you're building empires, you're building knowledge, wisdom, whatever it might be, you need to stick together. And sometimes this is not normalized in the West. Like, people are like, well, my parents don't offer these things for me. They kicked me out at 15 years old or 18 years old. I had to work and use my own money for everything, or whatever it might be. Okay, maybe your parents didn't do it, but moving forwards, you can for your children.
Be the change.
Exactly. Make the change. Make sure that you're keeping families together and you're building up over generations.
Can I make a point off the back of that?
Yeah.
So I think something that to always be really, really aware of is that they don't know any different. Okay, so they know their skills. They may not have the emotional capacity to support you emotionally. However, they have the financial capacity, so they've supported you financially. And you know what? I despised them for it when I wasn't able to take that distance. So I actually was like, well, we've all got properties. I had this thing, like, we were all given this. My father worked so hard to make this a reality. We didn't have a mother. Like, she wasn't able to be there. And then we were looked after in a different way. And I despised them for it. I was like, well, where's my hug? Or where's the love? Why are you not listening to me? Why are you not seeing me? And instead of focusing on, actually, they provided so much, I focused on, well, what I wasn't getting. When I took that time away to recognize that actually I'd given all my control away, I was giving all my power away, I was focusing on what they didn't give me. Yeah. And by taking that distance away and taking my control back, I was able to come back into the situation and be like, oh my God, there's a community here. There's an environment here. They've created safety. They've created opportunity, and focusing on those things. And then from there onwards, the relationship has genuinely been beautiful, because I've looked at it and said, oh my God, you've done this. And then it's like, okay, cool. Now what's the next thing for the next generation? The next generation, they're going to be so free and wild and creative and beautiful and safe. And they're going to be building an empire on top of what they've already done. And I think that that's one of the most powerful things, is taking that time away, recognize who you are, and then coming back and building on what they've built. And if they haven't built anything, because I know that there's families that don't have those things, don't look at it in that way. Be that change. Be willing to draw that line and say, okay, cool, these things have happened up until now. The generations in the family haven't thrived and grown on top of each other. So we're going to be the beginning, and this is how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that it's such an important point, that in order to fulfill your full potential in this lifetime, you utilize what's been given to you. You recognize that there is a base. And I fully believe that we choose our parents. I fully believe we choose the family that we're born into. And this is a huge part of removing this victim mindset of, why was I born into this family? They suck. They don't do anything for me. They don't understand this. I think like this, then they don't. But recognize that you're given that base for a reason. It's shaping who you are. You only know what you don't like because you've seen it. Yeah. You do know what you want to do in life because you've seen what you don't want to be. Yeah. So utilize what you have, and the mindset shift between, why are they not doing this for me, versus, I see what you are offering. I see how you are showing up. I see that, yeah, there's gaps here because your family, your parents didn't provide this for you. How do you know how to love me when you never received love from your family? How could I expect you to do this when you were literally trying to survive and provide for me? You didn't have space for emotions and to go deeper into spirituality or whatever. But this is an opportunity for me now. So building on that, recognizing what you have been given is essential. Removing the victim mindset and entering a state of, now what am I responsible for? How can I show up as my best? What do I need to do? What gaps can I fill as an individual so I don't pass on certain things to the future generations? Yeah. And when I look at the energetics of a lineage, it's amazing. I'm actually going to draw a picture. I would love to hear it whenever. This picture looks like shit.
Wow. Oh my God. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, this is pretty shit. Okay, I'm showing it to the camera for whoever's watching. If you're just listening, it's pretty. You don't need to even try to go look at it because it's just shitty. But let me just describe it. It's essentially energetic lines merging into one really strong pathway. And it's the pathway of the lineage, right? So when we look into a person's body, and I look into their actual lineage beyond their DNA, I can see where wisdom has been passed. It's almost like roads diverging into one road, one solid road. And the more you're able to gather from the little side roads into your main road, the stronger your pathway becomes. So we can gather wisdom, intelligence, experiences from our family, from our parents, our grandparents, our siblings, our aunts and uncles. We can gather all of that and utilize it as our own because it is ours. And we can take those lessons and we can take those lessons and use them to propel us forward on our pathway. And this is something that saves time and saves energy, because if you don't need to go through a life experience, make the mistake, fuck up, relearn the thing, then gather the wisdom, you're saving all of that time and energy because somebody's already done it. Somebody's already made that same mistake, learned the lesson, gathered the wisdom and intelligence, and it's living in your body. So if we open up to that, if we view our family, as messed up as they could be, as a baseline, as a ground to build upon, and we take it, all of it, as an opportunity, a ground to build upon, and we utilize that, it takes you so much further than if you try to do it alone with just your life experience, just what you've gathered in your brain over your however many years of living. So think about if you had 1,000 years of intelligence and experience versus just your 20-something, 30-something years. So use your family, use the generations before you, use the lineage, use all of that. It will help you fulfill your potential and learn to embrace all of the shit that you've been given. I know it hurts. I know it's painful. I know that there's a lot of resentment. I know it's really hard to love someone who has harmed you. But when you learn to do that, it will transform a lot in your life.
Yeah. No, I like that. Thank you for explaining. I think it's a really clear way of explaining it. I was going to try and explain it in a different way, which I still will, but I think like a lot of people come forwards, especially these people, and I remember this feeling for myself was I'd have the clearest wisdom to give that child version of myself now if I went back. But one of the things is I didn't know what I wanted because I didn't know who I was. So I needed that distance to recognize, how do I know what I want? Well, actually, you've already made a huge list of all the things that you don't want. Start there. So if there's loads of things in your life that you don't want, you're very clear with the way that you're being controlled. You want to take your control back. Yeah, you don't want to be doing the things that the family do because they say you need to do it that way. Cool. Take that control back. Start with what you don't want. Neuroscience has completely proven that we create change from two places, either from a place of pain or from a place of vision. Use both. If you know things that you don't want, that's part of your vision. Put that in.
Yeah.
It doesn't always have to be things that you do want.
Right.
Because the first thing you have to do is remove all the shit anyway. You can't just suddenly start filling your life with loads of flowers when you've got loads of things rotting in there as well. First, get rid of the things that are rotting and then start planting your flowers and then start watering them. So I think that's a really beautiful place to start. And I think that creating of change, I'd go back and say to Preetam, like, there's things in your life that you don't want. Okay, cool, amazing. Start with removing those. Create the space for what you do want, and then detach from just everything. Sever the lines. There's a saying, isn't there? Burn the bridges. Burn the bridges so you have to use your boat. You have to swim. So you can't go backwards. And I believe that situation of sink and swim is like completely transforms the way that you live, and it helped you thrive as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I liked what you said about even the ability to go back in time and tell a younger version of you that here's redirection. There was something I said to you the other day when I was really struggling with something, and I was like crying. I think actually it was during our previous recording.
Okay.
Or maybe afterwards, or maybe it was the one we had argued on. But I had said...
Definitely wasn't an argument.
Or whatever it was. I had said, I was like struggling with understanding something or just processing something, and I remember just being really upset and saying, I wish there was an older, wiser woman I could go to for guidance.
Yeah.
And ideally, it would be my mother or my grandmother. But I already know through the experience and through conversation that they just didn't have the answers I needed. Like, they just are not the women that I need to speak to gather the wisdom that I need and the advice I need sometimes. So if for a moment I felt very alone, very much like I don't have the support system, I wish that I had more older, wiser women in my life. But then I remembered, I was like, I can actually just go to an older version of me who already has the wisdom, the experience, and the lessons that I need help with right now. So I actually did a meditation practice, and we'll actually do a similar one together at the end of this session. but I did a meditation practice where I went into the future, connected with an older version of me, and I actually got advice from her. And she directed me. She told me, hey, this is what you need to do. This is a different way to think about it. And she reframed it based on what she already knows. And what this does actually is the energetics of this is it actually brings us closer and more aligned on the path that we're made for, the highest path. Because the more we connect with the version of us who is already living the way we want to, the more aligned we become in the present moment on the reality that we're currently walking. So yeah, I got advice from the old, wiser version of myself, and this is something that anyone can do. So if you feel like you're not surrounded by, if you feel like your parents are not the parents you need them to be, recognize that you have everything you need within yourself. So go into yourself, parent yourself, offer yourself the love, the tenderness, the kindness, the gentleness that you need, and also go to a deeper part of yourself and give yourself advice. Because you have the answers, you have everything that you need, to just trust it. And I think I made a great point actually with the reparenting, because this is key. And when you do the detachment of like separating from your family, you still need support. So where do you get that from?
Yeah.
Is what I did. I don't know if you did this, but I literally started reparenting myself. I had 2 separate voices. I'm sure this is a little crazy to somebody, but it's okay because it works well. I had 2 separate voices. I had my mother voice, like me mothering myself, and my child self. And I would literally speak to a version of me as if I'm my own mother. Yeah. And it worked to the point now where I don't have the 2 voices. They're all one. But
it's the same voice.
Yeah. Now it's merged. Yeah, but essentially I had to reparent myself early on.
Yeah,
and I
did. Yeah. And I'd like, it was the exact same process for me. I did mother and father separate because the issues were different. So there wasn't 3 voices. There was 2 voices. Now they've merged, but there were 2 voices. But they often came from different angles depending on which layer had to be like seeked and worked with. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Very beautiful process. A difficult process, because if you've always been like, I was always taught that parenting was conditional. So there were always rules attached to everything, whereas actually there's no rules attached to anything. So it's like going through that journey of, oh, actually I can forgive myself. And then you're like, you're trying to understand what that's meant to be or what it's meant to feel like, because you don't know. And then one of the people that you just have to love unconditionally is yourself. Whereas actually every people that are parented conditionally. There's always something that comes along with it. Whereas actually the more unconditional we can be, the better. Now, you shouldn't go around being a murderer. Like, we have created like societal rules or rules to not like take the lives of other people. And we do have rules in society where we don't just go around committing crimes all the time. However, the idea of you having that freedom and being able to parent yourself is super essential. It will feel foreign. Feel foreign as fuck. Yeah. It will feel
weird.
So weird.
It's so effective.
Yeah. And then I think then you get to move to the other side of when you're reparenting and you go from the let me heal you to let me love you. The let me love you is super. Have you broken another pen?
Yeah.
We need to work on this. We need to give you something else to like squeeze and press with. I'll buy you a stress ball for next week. The idea of reparenting from a place of pain, especially when pain is what you're holding on to, is a beautiful place to be. And it's a very difficult journey to go on. But then reparenting from a place of love is, I found, even weirder, because you are now defining what you want love to be. That's just mind blowing, because you've had all these signs all this time that this is what love is, all these conditions, this is your potential. And then suddenly you get this love that's saying, oh, you can do whatever you want. You can do anything. You can grow angel wings and start flying all around these buildings and then come back into this building and just chill. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. And when you have that mindset and that belief, and you're able to actually tell yourself, and it's no longer your younger self telling your younger self, it's no longer your older self telling your younger self, it is yourself telling yourself. Yeah. It becomes a super powerful process.
Yeah.
Super powerful process.
It's incredible because early on in any healing journey, I do recommend, and also I'm glad that you did the same thing because this is proving that this is the best way to go about it. I recommend having separate voices in your head. And I know that Western psychology has told everyone that if there's more than one voice in your head, you need to be concerned. But genuinely, no. What helped me actually separate my emotions, my thoughts, and my spirit, I gave them different names. I gave them names, personalities. I wrote it out on a piece of paper, And that's how I was able to distinguish the mess of my emotions, the mess in my mind, and then the centering of myself. And this was at the point when I was the most suicidal. I think it was literally 15 minutes after I called a suicide hotline, sitting in my car in the dark at a park, being like, I will actually kill myself if I don't find some clarity. And so I took out my notebook and I had 3 separate colored pens. I had everything with me in my car, obviously. I had 3 separate colored
lived there.
I did. I had 3 separate colored pens and I made 3 columns. One for my mind, one for my body, one for my spirit. I gave them names. And
what were the names?
I'm not sharing the names.
Oh, come on. You've
No.
got to share the names.
No, I'm not.
Do they have actual different names?
Yes.
And like, are these names still present?
No.
So you don't have like alter ego personalities?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes. So yeah, I gave them names and I listed out their qualities.
Please.
Okay, I'll tell you the name of my mind.
Okay.
Her name was JoJo.
JoJo.
And it reminded me of Yo-Yo. Because that's how she was. Because she was like up and down, chaotic. She was mean.
Okay.
She was fucked.
Has this person...
All of this is different now. And
they've got different names?
No.
Okay.
They're all the same now.
Same now.
I don't need to give them names. They're all like... I find clarity.
So Jojo and Yo-Yo?
Yeah. No. It's JoJo.
JoJo. She was like a yo-yo.
JoJo was... Yeah.
Okay.
JoJo was fucked up.
Fucked up.
And I knew, do not listen to JoJo. JoJo is the one that wants to act. JoJo, if you listen to JoJo, you're going to kill yourself. Yeah, so I didn't listen to JoJo anymore.
No more JoJo.
And JoJo needed to be parented more than anything.
By who?
By my spirit.
And what was spirit?
I'm not telling you.
What? We're not allowed to
know
know the name. Why not?
It's just too...
Because it's all one now.
No, I don't want to share it.
Okay. Can you share it with me afterwards? Can it be a personal thing?
Maybe.
Okay.
Well, all of it had to be parented by my spirit, right?
Okay. There was a third one. Can we have the third one?
The name of my body?
Yes.
I think it was Simran.
Simran.
Yeah, because my human has been named Simran.
So body was Simran.
Yeah.
Mind was Jojo, like a yo-yo. And was it like a good yo-yo? Could it spin?
No, it was a fucked up
yo-yo. It was a terrible yo-yo.
Yeah.
Okay. No one wants a terrible yo-yo. And then we're not allowed to know the other one.
Well, it's the name of my spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I essentially had my spirit, that voice in me, parent and direct and redirect everything else.
Wow.
And I knew Simran has been neglected. My body, my communication from my own body, my body telling me no, my body telling me I'm depressed, my body telling me I need movement, I need better food, I need you to rest. I had to listen to that, and I had to not listen to JoJo, and I had to lead with my spirit. So my point is, I recommend that if you're really going through it and you're feeling so confused and lost and all over the place and you can't tell up from down, left from right, and you don't know where your feet are, get out a pen and paper and write out. Give the voice of your mind a name, give the voice of your human body a name, and give the voice of your soul a name. Find the distinction. You know there's different voices. They sound different. They say different things. They have a different energy.
You feel it in different places.
Yeah.
There's a completely different feeling all over your body. Like you'll know when your body's talking to you. You'll know when your mind's talking to you. And you'll definitely know when your spirit's talking to you. And if you don't know when the spirit's talking to you, you haven't listened to him or her yet.
Yeah. And if you're a woman and you want to go deeper into this and you need assistance, guidance, and a community, I literally hold a community space for this very thing, teaching people how to decipher between the voice of the mind, the voice of the body, and the voice of the spirit. And we go through a 4-month-long process, and it's incredible. And we'll put a link somewhere in the description for that. And it is for only women, so maybe Preet will make one for men, hopefully soon. Or maybe we'll open something else up.
I think we're going to open something up. However, I have launched a space for men, a free space for men, every single month, for men to come along and understand the depths and the layers of how to harness their emotional health, their mental health, their spiritual health, and their physical health to be able to create the life that they want, but also have a space where they're able to be completely safe and take down their armor. And that will be launching every single month. If you want the date for the next one, once this is released, head to my Instagram page, but I'll also put the link in the bio so you can click up and sign up.
Incredible. Look at us doing our thing.
Amazing.
So let's now get into action steps for all of these beautiful people listening to us. That was my British accent, and I apologize for even doing it because it was pretty bad. I heard it. Anyways, yeah, let's get into action steps. Are you ready for that, Preetam?
As long as we move past that.
The British accent.
Terrible British accent. And also, this happens very regularly. I do also enjoy mimicking Simran's American accent. However, the regularity of how often my accent is mimicked is very, very often. And also, I don't actually think anyone sounds like what Simran does.
I just want to point out that I have always spoken in different accents. My favorite is Australian, British, and a country accent.
They're very different.
I know, but I alternate. But because I've been around,
they're all the same.
Because I've been around you
Okay.
more,
Yeah.
the British comes out more.
I understand. So what we're going to do now quickly before we go into the advice, which we can get into, that's going to be amazing. You said Australian, British, and country, right? We're now going to test out all three.
Okay.
Okay? So I would like you...
All right, mate. Are you
Wait,
ready?
no, we're going to split them up so people can actually hear the
Okay.
differences, okay? And I would like you to say, all right, mate, my name is Simran.
All right, mate.
Wait,
My name
I haven't
is
told you which
Simran.
one we're going to do first yet. So, all right, mate, my name is Simran, okay? So, please, and say, all right, mate, my name is Simran, I love you.
All right,
Okay?
mate.
Wait,
Oh my god.
can you please go with country first?
Okay, first of all, no one from the country would say, all right, mate.
Well, you're just going to have to do it today.
No, I'm not doing that.
Okay,
All right,
well-
mate. I'm doing the Australian first. All right, mate. My name's Simran, and I love you. So-
What just happened? Please, everyone, please, if you're Australian and you're listening to this, if you know any Australians, please send this to them because I've never heard that before.
Okay.
Okay,
You know
on to
what?
British.
Wait, I want to do something. I would like to apologize to the Australians because I know that was bad, and I will never attempt an Australian accent again.
Okay, now please.
For the
move on to
British, all right, mate. My name's Simran, and I love you.
That sounds more Australian.
I think I need a separate one.
Okay, no, wait, no,
I'm
that's okay.
just gonna say the title of this episode in a British accent. Is your family holding you back? Hold on, wait. I'm cutting this part out.
You sound like a cowboy.
Is your family holding you back from your full potential?
I honestly, genuinely, deeply hope that this doesn't get cut out because it has to be in there. And then
Okay.
finally,
My
country.
favorite is the country accent.
Please.
Do you want me to give the rest of these actions?
You said,
Should I just give the action steps in the country accent?
do you think people will receive it in the same way?
I think it would be probably more effective.
Is the country accent received with more love?
Yeah.
In general?
She's a sweetheart.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
Okay.
The country version of me.
Okay.
We're just gonna get into it, okay?
Okay, cool. Go for it.
All right, I'm here. I'm here. No, that's a British accent. We're getting into action steps, honey. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I told you she's a sweetheart. A whole different personality is about to come out right now. The deeper we go into this, the better it's gonna get. You ready for this one?
I'm ready.
All right, sweetheart. Why don't you go ahead and give us some information about periodization and reverse engineering? Can you do that for us?
I can, but it's really hard to take it seriously.
Why?
Just
Go for
because
it.
your head doesn't stay straight. You're doing like an American version of an Indian wobble.
I feel like you just need to accept what's coming.
Okay.
Okay?
Cool. Guys, just give me a moment.
You got this? You're doing great. Okay, I'll stop.
So yeah, that was actually good.
Yeah.
The country one you've got nailed down.
Because she has a personality with it.
We've got personality. You just take it all away. Okay, cool. So we're just going to dive into. So we're going to teach you a tool, an overall tool, which we've split into two to genuinely help you find your potential and what you should do next to move into that, and not just a mixture of the physical side of things, the planning side of things, and then the energetic side of things. So Simran's going to do the energetic side of things because she's amazing at it. Now, periodization is a tool that we use for our professional athletes. It's been filtered down into like gym work, etc., where people are like, oh my God, I'm periodizing my training. And effectively what it means is that you have your end goal, your big end goal, and then you reverse engineer everything from the big end goal to where you are right now. So all of the tools of your personality, all of the tools of your life, all the different aspects of everything that's going on in your life, the layers, the family, the environment, the community, will all get built into this plan as a sense. And then we reverse engineer from the end goal to right now. Now, what does that do? Well, actually, this vision that you've created, whether it's all the things that you do want, whether it's all the things that you don't want, it's going to be a huge difference from who you are today. Now, the first thing might be that you need to remove loads of things. So that will go along in the journey. then also there's going to be loads of things about all the things that you're going to have to start adding in. There might be education that needs to take place. You might need to create some distance and go and spend time in a certain area. There might be someone that you need to get rid of out of your life. All of these things will be built into that future version of you, which is going to be very different to the current version of you. So the first thing is getting really, really clear on what it is that you want and what it is that you don't want. Now, you might know loads of things that you don't want. That's okay. You can start with that. Then as it becomes clearer, you can add in more detail. However, put in everything that you can there. Then from that point, reverse engineer to where you are now. Create clear pathways of the logic that you do know with the brain that you have at that moment. Then when you move into the energetic pathway, which Simran's going to show you, that's going to bring up a lot more for you as well and give you the guided pathways. However, you're going to reverse engineer with all the knowledge that you do know, which will give you clear, reverse engineered roadmaps to where you need to go. Okay? And then I'm going to pass over to Simran. Once you've got really clear on the periodization, the bits that you do know. Now, if you need a structure for this, I have a tool that you can actually lay it out completely. Drop the Confessions of a Black Sheep page a DM and we can get that sent to you. Now, once that has happened, Simran's now going to take you through an energetic practice, and that practice will guide you through visualizing that future self and being able to feel things energetically. So let me just pass over to Simran and she'll give you more instructions.
Incredible. Thank you. So we'll actually be closing out this episode, and what I'll do is I'll include a visualization practice right at the end of this. So anyone who's listening who is either driving or at the gym or in a location where you cannot sit down with your eyes closed in silence for a few minutes, come back to this and just know that the end of this episode is holding this practice for all of us. Anything else you want to say before we enter that section?
No, I don't think so. I think it can end straight.
Okay, beautiful. So let's get into it.
Cool. Enjoy.